Hey, Vertical Church family, this past Sunday, as we saw how the helmet of salvation prompts adoration, we shared an exciting announcement. Take a look at this video.
John Whitney, in his book, The Spiritual Disciplines, we've been selling this book for years. It's at our information center. You can purchase it today. Don Whitney says this in that book. He says, there's an element of worship in Christianity that cannot be experienced in private worship or by watching worship. You know those people are like, I don't have to go to a church to worship. I like to hang out. I'm kind of granola, man. The trees make me worship. Well, that's awesome. But if you're abandoning what we're doing here today for that, there are some graces and blessings that God gives only in the meeting together with other believers. Well, what are some of those blessings? I wrote a few down. Blessing number one, God's manifest presence is experienced in a greater way. Listen, what happened here this morning leading up to me preaching, you can't get at home watching us online. You can't. And you can't get on your own when you're having your personal devotions. When we gather together corporately, we should expect God's manifest presence in a greater way. Blessing number two, God's exalted more highly. That's why David says in Psalm 34, verse 3, "Oh, magnify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together." Blessing number three, we are able to be strengthened by being around the saints. Like we have an opportunity today and every time we gather to perform the one another's that are spoken of in Scripture. You can't get that when you're worshiping individually. Blessing number four, we get to witness the gospel at work beyond just me. So the coolest part about communion for me is like I get to see all of you take the communion. Isn't that cool, Chris? When you're like sitting up there and you see all these people taking communion, it's like their lives have been transformed by the gospel. They're participating in something that they believe in. And when you're worshiping at home, you're just so focused on yourself that you're not reminded about what God is doing in the lives of other people. So as your pastor, I want to encourage all our people, those of you who are online as well, watching us, I want to encourage you to corporately worship. I want corporate worship to become a greater priority for us. And not just for those who are at home right now, but for all of us who are attending. Like corporate worship should be a weekly priority. It's not like, man, I wonder if I should go to church today, or I wonder if I have something else to do. No, it's got to be a priority, and you need to come prepared, come with a clean heart, prepared to worship, and participate. But here's what often happens. Warfare impedes our worship. COVID-19 impedes our worship. Listen, Hebrews was written to Christians experiencing immense warfare. The author writes this, immense warfare. The author writes this, "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." Why would he write that? Because pulling away from God's people and God's presence during warfare is costly to the soul. Corporate worship is super important. Now, I know those of you who are online, you're probably like, man, I don't know if I'm liking what I'm hearing today. And I get that. And I trust that's the Spirit of the Lord working on you. And we want to help you. We want to make it easier for you to come back to church. So starting Easter Sunday, we're going to 2 services. All right? 2 services. The 9 a.m. service is going to be a mask-required service, okay? Everybody's wearing masks at all times. Why are we doing that? Because we believe that worship is your weapon on the battleground, okay? Worship is your weapon on the battleground.
Hey, we are super excited to get back to 2 services where our entire church family can worship comfortably. Now this week, you're going to receive an email in your inbox we need to hear from you. Let us know which service will serve you and your family best, whether it's the 9 a.m. mask required service or the 10:45 a.m. mask optional service. We can't wait to worship with you. You are loved.